Ever wonder what roamed the earth before the mighty Tyrannosaurus Rex? Well, let me tell you, the prehistoric world was a real-life monster movie long before the dinosaurs even showed up. Forget what you think you know about ancient life, because we're diving deep into an era filled with creatures so bizarre they make a T-Rex look tame. Today, we're recounting down 5 of the most terrifying creatures that ruled the planet millions of years before the age of dinosaurs. So buckle up, because things are about to get weird. The oceans were teeming with new, experimental forms of life, and lurking among them was our first nightmare creature, Anomalocaris. The name means abnormal shrimp, and honestly, that's an understatement. This thing was the apex predator of its time, a true monster of the deep. Imagine a creature up to a meter long, which was gigantic for the Cambrian seas. But the scariest parts were its 2 fearsome appendages at the front. These weren't your average claws. They were long, spiky arms that could grab and crush unsuspecting trilobites and other critters. In its mouth was something else entirely. It was a circular plate made of sharp, overlapping pieces that could contract and expand, kind of like a camera shutter made of teeth. It would grab its victim with those spiky arms, pull it towards this horrifying mouth, and crunch down. It was the original sea monster, a top-tier hunter that set the stage for predators to come. Next up, we have a creature that looks like it was designed by a committee that could unagree on anything. Meet Opabinia, another resident of the bizarre Cambrian seas. If you thought Anomalocaris was strange, Opabinia takes it to a whole new level. This creature was relatively small, only a few inches long, but what it lacked in size, it made up for in sheer weirdness. First, let's talk about the eyes. It didn't have to. It had 5. 5 eyes on stalks, sitting on top of its head, giving it a 360-degree view of its surroundings. It could see everything, everywhere, all at once. But that's not even the strangest part. Protruding from the front of its face was a long, flexible proboscis, almost like an elephant's trunk, but with a claw at the end. Yes, a claw. Scientists believe it used this trunk claw to snatch up soft-bodied prey from the seafloor and then pass it to its mouth, which was located underneath its head, facing backward. Imagine trying to describe this thing to someone. It's a swimming creature with 5 eyes and a vacuum cleaner hose with a claw on the end. When its fossils were first presented at a scientific conference, the audience reportedly burst into laughter because it seemed too ridiculous to be real. Alright, if you think we've reached peak weirdness, you are mistaken.
Ow!
Next creature is so nightmarish. Its name literally means wandering of the mind, as if it came from a hallucination. Say hello to Hallucigenia. This tiny worm-like animal from the Cambrian period has baffled scientists for decades. When its fossils were first discovered, paleontologists couldn't even figure out which way was up. They initially thought it walked on its long, sharp spines and had tentacles on its back for feeding. Can you picture that? A tiny worm tiptoeing across the seafloor on a set of stilts? It was a truly terrifying image. However, further research turned this interpretation completely upside down, literally. We now know that those sharp spines were actually for defense and pointed upwards, while the creature walked on pairs of fleshy, clawed legs. What were thought to be tentacles on its back were actually its legs. And what was thought to be its head had no eyes or mouth. It turned out to be, well, its rear end. The real head was a simple, featureless blob at the other end. So a spiky worm with legs walking around on the ocean floor? Even with our modern understanding, Hallucigenia remains one of the most alien-looking creatures to have ever existed. It wasn't a predator, but imagine stepping on one of these with bare feet. Ouch. Now, let's fast forward a bit to the Devonian period, about 380 million years ago. This era is known as the Age of Fishes, and for good reason. The oceans were dominated by massive, armored fish, and among them was a true giant. Our 4th creature is Titanichthys. The name says it all, Titanic fish, and it lived up to its name. Its head and chest were covered in thick, bony plates, making it an aquatic tank. So you might be thinking a fish this huge must have been a terrifying super predator, right? Like its famous cousin, the Dunkleosteus, with its bone-crushing jaw blades. Here's the twist. Despite its intimidating size and armor, Titanichthys was a gentle giant. Its jaw plates were small and weak, completely unsuited for chomping down on other armored fish. Instead, scientists believe it was a filter feeder, much like modern-day basking sharks or whale sharks. So, while it wouldn't have hunted you, imagine swimming in the Devonian Sea and seeing this bus-sized armored shadow glide past you. Terrifying in its sheer scale, Titanichthys proves that, even before the dinosaurs, megafauna ruled the seas, and not all of them were bloodthirsty killers. Finally, we crawl out of the water and onto land for our last and perhaps most skin-crawling creature. The atmosphere back then had much higher oxygen levels, which allowed terrestrial arthropods insects, spiders and their relatives to grow to horrifying sizes. And the king of them all was Arthropleura. What is Arthropleura? Imagine a millipede. Now, imagine that millipede is over 2.5 meters long, or about 8 feet, and as wide as a person. It is the largest known land invertebrate of all time. This giant segmented creature scurried through the humid, swampy coal forests of ancient Europe and North America. Its fossils show wide trackways left behind in the mud, evidence of its massive size and numerous legs. For a long time, people thought this colossal creepy-crawly was a fearsome predator, a nightmare for any smaller animal in its path. But recent discoveries have changed that picture. Analysis of fossilized gut contents and the structure of its mouthparts suggests that Arthropleura was actually a herbivore, munching on decaying plant matter and spores on the forest floor. So, you wouldn't have been on its menu. But let's be honest, would that really matter? If you were taking a stroll through a Carboniferous forest and saw an 8-foot-long, armored millipede coming toward you, you wouldn't be checking to see if it was a herbivore. Arthropleura is a chilling reminder that for a time, the bugs weren't just big, they were giants. So, there you have it. 5 creatures that prove the world was a wild and terrifying place, long before the first dinosaur ever hatched. From the abnormal shrimp Anomalocaris to the giant millipede Arthropleura, these ancient animals stretch our imagination and redefine what we consider monstrous. They are a testament to the endless creativity and sometimes downright scary experimentation of evolution. The prehistoric world is so much more than just T-Rex and Triceratops. It's a lost world of wonders and nightmares. What do you think is the most terrifying creature on this list? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this journey into the deep past, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more adventures into the unknown. See you next time.